Alright, so we should be going up live in a matter of seconds on YouTube, and then we should be good. There we go. I see it starting up. Excuse me. Come on. It's ruining the illusion. Why won't this thing stand up all of a sudden? There we go. Alright, that works. So, welcome to Valley of the Suns live on Periscope, possibly not YouTube. Excuse me, we are live on YouTube, possibly not on Twitter. So let me just tweet that out real quick, just because that is totally unexpected. We are having, oops, done. We are having Twitter technical difficulties. You guys will get this in a moment. Join VOTS live on Periscope. See how fast I can type. And YouTube now. Oh, if only I could spell YouTube. Oh, hello. Throwing a couple hashtags. And voila. All right, so welcome to Valley of the Suns Live, the weekly show. Sorry about that. Yeah, I swear. You know what? It's so ridiculously difficult. Well, okay. Well, we're definitely going to start on that. It's so ridiculously difficult getting this show going by myself, and it's not a complaint. It's just like the honest truth. Every week, something doesn't want to work. Usually Periscope, is the one with the issues. It just doesn't want to work, but Twitter works just fine. Now all of a sudden, Periscope seems to be working great, but all of a sudden today, Twitter doesn't want to work. It's saying the password isn't correct. I'm like, hello, I've typed it in 37 times. So, that's just the way it works. We have YouTube as a backup, so if for whatever reason, you don't like to watch on Periscope, we've got YouTube. So we are streaming normally on 3 live services. Today, just 2. Let me take these bad boys off. There we are. So welcome to the show. My name is Adam Maines, your site editor and host. So let's just get right into it. So it looks as if the Suns do go after a free agent to help fill the shooting guard position, that as of moments before the show started, sup, Kurt? As of moments before the show started, Tony Allen has signed with the Pelicans. So he is definitely the one who I wanted the Suns to go after in particular. I love, sup, man? I loved the idea of PJ Tucker defending Devin Booker in practice. And if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. So I'm definitely not only repeating myself, but preaching to the choir. But, I definitely liked that idea. And it's strictly because I want Devin Booker to get as much practice at all times. I want him to play as often as possible against the best top-tier defensive talent. And really, there's not going to be anybody else outside of trading for PJ Tucker, which now would just be ridiculous. There was really nobody else available, at least in practice, to have that kind of a role than Tony Allen. So now Tony Allen is with the Pelicans, which leaves us with everybody's favorite RJ Hunter. Now, I say that with a hashtag snark. RJ Hunter is nobody's favorite. The guy is basically just a bust of an NBA player. He's really just nothing too special. First round pick, but has shown nothing in the way of credible offensive talent. Certainly is not a defensive stalwart on any level. So if he gets set some practice, he might as well. Well, exactly. Precisely, Kurt. So, with RJ Hunter, it's like, all right, you're hoping for a diamond in the rough, and he would have been a lot cheaper. Let me actually look up, because I literally got the text just as I was hitting live. There's no doubt in my mind that CJ would come a lot cheaper than Tony Allen would have. So Tony Allen signed a 1-year deal. James Young would be nice. Let's see if it says this story does not have it's a 1-year deal. It's not a bad. There might not be any contract uh, specifics reported yet. Let me see this one. I'm just literally pulling up stories right now. Sporting news. No. Okay. So yeah, I mean, if two doesn't say, yeah, if two stories don't say that it caused yet, then nothing will. But I'm gonna guess, minimum 4 million probably. It could be less. I'm really just guesstimating. I have no idea what his market value should be. But he's definitely, regardless, coming more expensive than CJ Hunter would. I keep saying CJ. I'm thinking CJ Wilson, so I'm thinking pitcher for the Angels. But he would definitely be a lot more expensive than RJ Hunter would be. RJ, I guarantee, would be a minimum. So for any reason, salary cap issues might have actually, forced the Suns to shy away a little bit. That might have been the reason why RJ Hunter has a camp invite versus signing Tony Allen. So, man, and to be honest, if Tony Allen were to get somewhere in the range of $4 million a year, then I could see the Suns maybe shying away from him specifically because of salary cap purposes. Because obviously the discussion for the last several years, and I'm going to presume that for this season as well, if the Suns can take on a big contract, just a mammoth, that's another word for that. What's up, outcrop? Another albatross contract, and then take on a first round pick, as well, or a young player, they want to do that. And so, if you've got Tony Allen and a few million on his on the roster, so Tim, then maybe that's just not plausible. Whereas RJ Hunter, you have a backup until Davon Reed gets healthy. I would have speculated that maybe Tony Allen might have wanted 2 years, and maybe he did. And the only deal offer he was getting was 1 year with the Pelicans. So Solar. Maybe that was one of the issues. Could be many issues. And it just is a little disappointing. Nick Stauskas would be interesting. He's definitely more of a more polished offensive player. I would definitely, based on his age. Somebody remind me. I can look it up. Welcome back, Dub. Let me see. Nick. Age. I forget. I was going to say, I knew it was young. So 23. Nick would be cool. Again, you are definitely probably looking at a little bit more in the line, in terms of contract. And he's definitely at 23 not going to want a 1 year a 1 year contract, is my presumption. Bucks, you're back. So again, Nick would if they had traded Brandon Knight, yeah, agreed. No, it's all good. We started a little late. I keep moving things. Drives me nuts. Things are just not working right. But, Nick being a little bit younger, he's not going to want a 2-year contract, so he's probably going to want a little bit more money, which then could cause an issue in terms of salary cap. Again, if they're looking to pick up an albatross contract with a young player or a first-round pick, Nick Stauskas. And then the other thing, too, is that if they had been able to trade Brandon Knight and not got another player in return, Don, then maybe at that rate, a guy like Nick would have made sense, because then they would have filled Brandon Knight's spot on the roster with Stauskas. They could have gone after probably a longer contract, maybe 3 years. I mean, I'm wildly speculating here. Not yet. I will double check in case, again, I'm missing something. I've been following Twitter today and I have not seen anything. But as far as I know, no. Yeah, nothing. So maybe at that point, and I'm wildly speculating potentially a 3-year deal. At that point, then yeah, I could see that kind of working, going after Nick. But right now, and just in terms of money, it just doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. Which is, again, that's why Tony Allen didn't sign, which is why RJ Hunter got that. I'm so bummed too. Got that camp invite. Nick also has more experience. He definitely does. Well, he's 23, so he's also a little bit younger as well. And I do want to point out, it was Cesar Vieiro of Valley of the Suns here who took a he didn't take the photo, saw a photo on Twitter of camp invites, guys working out 4 days ago, And in this great little photo went, is that RJ Hunter? And he circled him. So we retweeted that, and he based this whole story. So, Caesar got that out early. He was the first guy, honestly, in the Valley. I mean, nobody was talking about RJ Hunter until he saw that little picture. So that was pretty cool on his part. That was some amazing sleuthing. Got to give him a whole lot of props on that. So again, as far as I understand, I am not broadcasting on Twitter. So at least get some hearts, maybe get get some friends, text somebody, and just be like, hey, check out, Valley of the Sun's on Periscope tonight and on YouTube. Twitter is apparently not going to work. I will work on that tonight. It was complaining about the password. I have no idea what it's talking about, and I reset it 3 times since it ignored it. So we'll see. It's not a problem. So I got to tell you though, I got to say, if RJ signs, again, they're looking at him, I'm sure. I know, you were the first to comment too. If he signs, I'm sure they're looking at him as he'll just fill in until Davon Reed gets back. B, he's not expected to be here next year, so hopefully Davon is both back and fully healthy. Hopefully Brandon Knight is healthy by next year. So he really is just a short-term sign. And then C, it's a former first-round pick, which honestly in the NBA means absolutely nothing. Heck, in sports in general means absolutely nothing. I wonder if there is a little bit of, hey, maybe diamond in the rough. Maybe this kid just needed a new change, a change of scenery, maybe some different coaching. He's going to be playing with Devin Booker. So, yeah, he would likely won't even play like every other time he's been on the team. Yeah, exactly. He's probably not going to play a whole lot. He is just going to be a roster filler. I do hope, personally, that they definitely give Derek Jones Jr. the majority of the minutes. Just let him go out there and work his butt off. Really just hopefully takes another step forward this season in his development. I say another. Last year was his rookie year. But, just hopefully we see him take a step forward in his development. And Mike James, you're right. And touche. Although I will say that Mike James, at least from the European perspective, he, people know what he's about. Same with Jock. At least Jock coming from college, 4 years, they know those guys. They know what they're going to bring to the table. It's how good and how effective can they be. A lot of people are. A lot of people are a big fan of Mike James. But the thing, though, is that with Derek Jones Jr., is he still 19? Let me see. Derek Jones Jr. age. Jones Jr. age. 20. So he is officially 20 years old. Is that the right Derek? That face, if that's Derek Jones Jr., it is. Boy, do me a favor. If you've got, hey, that means we're famous. If you have Bing, I usually Bing, I don't Google. I don't know why. Google Derek Jones Jr. age. That face, I said Google. That Bing face, that is not our Derek Jones Jr. I want to Google something. That was pretty funny. I'm not going to Google it instead of Bing. It's Derek Jones Jr. age. So when you Bing Derek Jones Jr., you get somebody that is not our Derek Jones Jr. But when you Google Derek Jones Jr., you get our Derek Jones Jr. That is pretty funny. That guy, I have no idea. That's a different face. I'm just gonna say that. So definitely, if you got a shot, if you're on a computer, you can just check it out. Yes, he is 20. That's just kind of funny to see. I just happen to, I Binged it instead of Google, and I got a guy that just does not look happy. So anyway, in terms of Mike James and Jock, again, we kind of have a feeling. Let's talk about the next label. I do. I honestly, I like the layout of Bing better than Google. I'm not going to lie. I've been thinking unless things fall in Brooklyn's favor, I don't think that pick is all that great. Might not be all that great. We can talk about that too. It might not be all that great. The thing is it's still going to be lottery. And so if the Suns manage to get it, and they then got the 3rd, 4th, or 5th pick, they might be able to trade their pick plus, a Brooklyn pick. Again, even if it's like 10th, 12th, and they manage to trade for it. So I'm speaking from the hypothetical world, the Suns get it. I wish I might reach out. How you stay humble if you see everyone doing good. What do you mean by that, Hugo? Explain. I don't understand 100%. Um, so if they hypothetically in the world of Brooklyn picks, they manage to get that. You add that with their pick, and they might be able to trade up to the #1 spot, depending on who's available. So that's why at least having that asset might be a really good option, or piece available to try to acquire. And again, even if it's like 8th, 9th, 10th, it's still going to be a decent pick. And depending on who is picking, could be picking ahead of the Suns, then for the Suns to get AD. Oh, you're talking about Anthony Davis? Yeah, well, I mean, it's not the most original idea. It's just, it would be cool. Holy cow. Could you imagine putting him next to Devin Booker? Playoffs. I mean, 100% playoffs. Um, excuse me. But then, let's say for the sake of argument, that the Suns managed to land the #1 pick, and they have the 8th, 10th, 12th pick with Brooklyn. Then that pick could be used to trade for a veteran. And now you've got the #1 pick. You've got, maybe you can get, and I'm just going to use in terms of references, you could say they managed to get a Ray Allen type player, the way that, Boston, let's see, Boston, yeah, didn't they trade? Remind me. Boston traded for Ray Allen and then signed Kevin Garnett, or they traded for Kevin Garnett and signed Ray Allen. But regardless, they could piece that together. So now they've got Devin Booker, they got Josh Jackson, they got like the #1, 2, 3 pick, and then they've got, veteran if they use it, that 10th or 12th pick. Well, see, I wrote a piece about that. Boy, I have to do a little research. I wrote a piece about that a while back, and I just think that it's here. This will take me a moment. I just think that it's possible to get, and it might not even cost all that. Well, okay, so here's the thing. Are they? Probably not. And let me see if I can find it real quick and let you know what I thought. But the thing, though, is that, and I'm not, I might have been the first person to really speculate this out there. I'm not going to say it was a 100% original idea, but, oh, shoot. At the same time, though, I've now seen national broadcasters talk about how how Cleveland might want to try that pick to try to get one more active and good veteran on that team to try to convince LeBron to just stay. If they can win a title this year, does LeBron really leave, or is it it's like, okay, well, I'll just keep winning kind of thing. So we all know LeBron is going to leave. So, but again, while you're probably right, while it's entirely plausible, Paulina, that they don't trade that pick, and that they do want to keep, how they do expect LeBron to leave. Boy, I've written so much trying to find it. There's still the idea, the concept that if you make a trade for that pick, or with that pick, here we go. I've got it. If you make a trade with that pick for a veteran, then maybe it's possible that you keep him. Now, so here is my idea. A couple of trade ideas, and I wrote this, 2 weeks ago. That was a while back. So I said, and just for the sake of argument, this is a couple of ways of how this could look. Let's say that the Minnesota experiment with Jimmy Butler doesn't work. But okay, so here we go. Let's say the Jimmy Butler experiment doesn't work. And the thing about it is I could see Minnesota, if they just start bad and they do not look like they're going to make the playoffs, they might go, we don't want to pay Jimmy Butler, and immediately look to trade him. So rip me for this all you want. My theory, though, is that the Suns get Brooklyn's 2018 first-round pick. They get J.R. Smith in terms of contract, and then they get Sadie Osman, who, again, was just contract. He helped make things work. So they get rid of their pick, but they also get rid of J.R. Smith. They then acquire Jimmy Butler. So now you got LeBron, IT, Kevin Love, Jimmy Butler. That's going to be a tough team to deal with. And the Suns do trade a lot. Don't get me wrong. But they trade Marquise Chris, Tyler Ulis, and Miami's 2018 pick. I am looking at that from the Suns' perspective of Marquise Chris is already looking like he's not going to be the power forward of the future. For whatever reason, something happens. And again, I mean, you can look at it from the perspective of, he's just fouling too much. He's just turning the ball over. Anyway. You're giving up Tyler Ulis. in my opinion, and I love that kid. It's to me, it's nothing in the world. And then you're trading, the 2018 Miami pick, which isn't going to be that fantastic, but because you're getting the 2018 Brooklyn pick back, so you're definitely moving up. From there, your option with your own pick that is now really going to suck. Your own pick and the Brooklyn pick, and you've got a shot there to draft a center, insert big name here, that will replace Marquise Chris, and then you still got a shot at drafting another point guard if you don't keep Eric Bledsoe or move Devin Booker to point. So you do give up Marquise Chris, Tyler Ulis, in the 2018 Miami pick, and I understand. I mean, I don't really want to lose either Chris or Ulis, although I would be willing to trade that Miami pick. But you are at least getting that 2018 pick back, the Brooklyn pick, while still retaining your own, which gives you 2 top 5, top 10 picks that that could work really well in terms of getting a power forward or center and another guard. It does hurt. I would hope that they could get it for less. To me, it just seems like you're not getting it for less. And actually, I didn't realize. I thought I had several trade options. That was the only one I proposed. And if I recall correctly, it's just because it's so hard to propose those kinds of trades, just because you really have no idea what's going to happen. I guarantee you there will be players out there, star players this year, that Cleveland will go after that we at the moment can't even fathom would be available. Whereas Jimmy Butler might never be available. If Minnesota actually plays decently well and it looks like they're going to make the playoffs, that's what they wanted. So, if Jimmy Butler's making the playoff, help push them towards the playoffs, they're not making that trade. I was just looking at that as, from the perspective of it just does not look like it's going to work out. And then Minnesota is the team that gets Chris Ulis in that first-round pick. So, yes, they're giving up they're giving up Jimmy Butler. So they're giving up that veteran, really good scoring small forward, but they're getting another point guard, which, they can't hurt, plus Marquise Chris, which I think is a viable long-term. Yeah, exactly. Truthfully, in my opinion, that I'm looking so much towards that draft as well. You can't get really any more fun than that. But I'll say this though, where is it? Okay, so from my perspective, forgive me. I'm just going to read this, just a small bit of this. So I said, should LeBron James leave next summer and Cleveland decides to let Isaiah Thomas walk, the path to rebuild will not be nearly as long as the Suns as the franchise might anticipate generally, especially if the Brooklyn pick ends up being extremely high. So again, if I'm talking LeBron leaves, they let IT walk, they have this Brooklyn pick, it's perfect. But what if LeBron doesn't leave? What if for any number of reasons he decides to re-sign with Cleveland and play out the rest of his career there, or at least a couple more years? The Cavaliers would be in a position then to need to reload next offseason and continue to ride the LeBron wave. Or what if the Cavaliers believe that LeBron is wavering on leaving, and so management decides to make a desperate or dramatic move to try to sway him to staying? And winning a title might actually do that. Winning a title this year, just imagine the heat he took already because they have whoever they draft. Yeah, exactly. Well, wait, they could re-sign IT because they could have IT, whoever they draft and love. That's a playoff team. Okay, so even if LeBron leaves, but they re-sign IT, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I would look at it I would almost rather rebuild. I'd rather let IT go, have that cap space, maybe try to go acquire a third first-round pick. But what if they decide, hey, we just have to go all in. Either we want to try to convince LeBron to stay, they don't want to convince him to leave. Or they're just like, we know for a fact LeBron is leaving, so why lose this year when you can win and at least get one more title from him before he leaves? Because then those might be the only 2 championships that the Cleveland Cavaliers get in the next 50 years. Look at the Suns. We're 0 for 49. So, they might look at it from that perspective. Again, you rebuild around that pick, but you can also win a title with that pick. So then I said, before I got into those scenarios, I said there's also the possibility that if LeBron moves west, the Cavs might still feel that the roster is potent enough with Thomas and Love to compete. Oh, all right. Was that Bucks that said that? Who said that? Because that's literally my next point, and I do apologize. I put that in italicized just because I don't expect that to happen, just because I would expect him to let IT walk. But you are correct. It was a dub. It was Bucks. It's one of you guys. I do apologize. So I mean, I literally just shot down an idea that I wrote 2 weeks ago. So now I feel like a schmuck. But the point though is that it's definitely. After this, can we get a better explanation of how the lottery will work? Are you a bot? Prove to me that you really want to know a better idea of how the lottery works. So I literally, so if any of those occur, then, okay, Buck, so I totally shot you down. That's entirely my fault, because I should have just glanced at the next paragraph. And I didn't excuse me, I didn't mean to shoot you down. I definitely, I still don't think that they would do that. I still think at that point you trade Love, because you could still get a decent haul for Love. You keep that pick, and then, they're discussing it, and I'm totally willing to discuss that. You could, if LeBron walks, you can let IT walk, save cap space. You could then go trade Love. You could still get a good haul, probably another first-round pick. So now you've got somebody else's first-round pick, Brooklyn's first-round pick, their own first-round pick. And now you're really dealing with a rebuild. So in my opinion, while I do agree, if that Brooklyn pick ends up being top 3 and they think they can get one of those big-name centers, IT and Love are a little long on the tooth. I mean, they're younger than me, but in basketball years, they're still a little bit old. So I really just don't think that you want to rebuild if LeBron goes. Or, excuse me, I don't think you want to just, reload. I think you want to rebuild if LeBron goes, but it definitely is still an option. Lunar Moonshine. Love that name. Okay, so in terms of the... Nobody's asked me that yet. Well, okay, so I gotta say, I really do hate projecting college or draft picks for 2 reasons. I don't watch enough college basketball, first off. Porter's the only one I really know, too. Outside of the point guard, now I'm trying to blink, the European. So I really do not watch enough college basketball. I'm an NBA fan. Doncic, thank you. Lucic. Anyway, I'm an NBA fan. As much as I'm a basketball fan, I just don't watch college basketball enough. And I certainly don't watch European basketball, to really be able to ever see Doncic. So I'm going to get a lot of that information from ESPN, from Draft Express, although I guess they're kind of closing down. They're now ESPN again, or now, and so on and so forth. And you know what? And I didn't even know if I watched a single game last year. I mean, I don't have time really like I used to when I was younger. So that's my point. It's hard for me to judge. On the other hand, I do have certain opinions. I am almost always, I love it. Well, then tweet me stuff, and I'm definitely gonna read it. I mean, I follow it enough to remain not that ignorant, but I don't watch it enough to really feel educated. There's just so many teams. There's so many teams to follow. But I also, you guys have heard, I have my anti-point guard draft pick philosophy. I do not like drafting point guards high. It's not a necessary. I keep up with high school. That's awesome. Oh, I'm jealous. I have a friend that keeps up with college football recruiting, but nobody I know does basketball. Yeah, well, Draft Express does a great job, but again, they just got bought out by ESPN, so I don't know what they're doing. They still post on Facebook, but I'm not 100% sure what they're doing anymore and what their connection to how their connection to ESPN changes things. But wait, yeah, they did. Hold on, they tweeted it out kind of abruptly too, hey, as of today, we're now ESPN kind of thing. Yeah, 7 hours ago, Jonathan Gavoni even tweeted out, Mike Schmitz and I are getting a little tour of ESPN while at our rookie camp. I mean, they are ESPN now. So, I have my anti-draft to point guard high bias, if you will. At the same time, as much as I'm anti-drafting point guards high, the Suns actually have a team that is really more than a center, a point guard short of being the kind of offense that I think this team is building to become. Devin Booker, yeah, what's up? Devin Booker, I believe, should be point guard anyway. when Eric Bledsoe leaves, and again, while he's here, I want him to start 82 games. Yeah, I know. I'm not that worried. I'm really not. Devin Booker, in my opinion, should be point guard. I think that they need then at that point a some sort of really high scoring outside shooting guard. I do truly believe. Do you think he would like? I don't know why not. Why wouldn't he like it? Because I think that's the point. I think if you build around the Golden State model, and you've got a Steph Curry, Klay Thompson kind of thing, in the backcourt, I think it would work, and I don't know why it wouldn't work. I don't know. Well, yeah, I just drafting anybody's so risky because they're getting 1 year of semi-pro, and that's college is our national semi-pro league. So they're getting 1 year of semi-pro, no matter what. And so really, what are they getting out of it? What do we really know about them? Actually, so that's my point there. So then, if you've got Josh Jackson, heck, I'd love to be able to keep TJ Warren around. I think he's a fantastic 3. So if you can have him at the 3, Josh Jackson and Dragon Bender switching off at the 4, and then have Chris at 5. If Chris and Bender, I know you're all hating on Bender right now, if they can be capable. Excuse me, if they can be capable of the Golden State Warriors run and gun kind of offense, that's what I love to see. So from that perspective, if you want to keep Booker out of the point guard position, I think Doncic is the perfect player. He's a Jason Kidd type, just like Lonzo Ball, but he's a Jason Kidd type, can score, he's a better shooter, he can pass really well, and he can rebound. Everybody says, well, he's a turnstile. All right. That's most NBA players now. So if you find me a fantastic scorer that's a lockdown defender like Jason Kidd, and believe me, I want him. Where is he? Why? We did just fine with Steve Nash playing point, defending a point guard. And, granted, we never won a title, but I don't blame Nash's defense on that at all. So it's like, if we can draft Doncic, then I think that might be the more perfect setup, because then you can have Doncic, Book, then you can decide what you want to do with Warren, have Josh Jackson at 3, Bender, and then Chris, or you could still do my Warren 3, Josh Jackson 4, Bender, Chris 5, or Bender 4, Chris 5. I blame David Stern. I blame a lot of people. I blame the Lakers. I blame the referees who didn't call Kobe Bryant's foot out of bounds. I mean, just all kinds of things. I blame everybody else but the Suns. Yeah, I mean, and he'd be a hell of an athletic one. He could be in the Kevin Durant mold. I'm not calling him Kevin Durant, but that type of size and skill set, that more of a finesse and not a pounding power forward. I don't know why it wouldn't work. I mean, at least in the short term, until you can find a star power forward, like a legit kind of an Amari Stoudemire type power forward, if they exist anymore. But and that's the thing. Whereas if you draft a center, if let's say you draft Ayton, I think he's going to take a while to develop. Centers usually do. And B, now you still have to find a point guard of the future if you don't think that Devin Booker is that point guard. So, generally, as much as I'm anti-point guard, drafting a point guard high, I actually think that Doncic is probably the better pick. Now, I trust Ryan McDonough and his scouting. So if he believes that, say, Ayton is head and shoulders above everybody else, then fine. I'm okay with it. I'll look that up. But if it's a tie, then Doncic, I think, could probably be the best number 1 pick for the Suns, especially because he is more than just a shooter or a scorer. He's more than just a scorer. He's not a shooter. He is a scorer, a shooter, a passer, and a rebounder. And I think that would be fantastic. So Book averaged 3.1 turnovers per game. He averaged 3.2 per 36 minutes. But I'll tell you this, he started more games at point guard his rookie year and averaged only 2.1 turnovers and then only 2.7. Although that's not fair. So hold on a second. Wait, let me pull up his rookie years when he started at point. and I'll tell you there. Okay, so turnover. Let's see. Excuse me. I want assists because it's right about. Let's go. I'm gonna go say game 43 to 82. What was his turnover rate? Because he started to point a lot there. He averaged 3 turnovers a game. So over the last 40 games of the season, where he started to point a lot, he averaged 3 turnovers while averaging 19 points and 4.1 assists and 3 boards. No point guards. Well, okay, so that's the thing. You know, if you get rid of don't get rid of Book. If you get rid of Bledsoe or you let him walk, you know, and then you just have a backcourt of Booker and Ulis, you know, Ulis obviously would be the backup point guard. And maybe you could, if you get a good shooting guard, maybe you could just kind of do in that sense, maybe a better KJ, Jeff Hornacek kind of backcourt, the way they tried to do with Bledsoe and Dragic, and then throwing in Isaiah Thomas. So, you know, maybe you could do a keep them guessing kind of backcourt, but that they would need a second shooter that could pass the ball. Now, again, Doncic could actually be that guy. I think he's actually rated as a shooting guard or slotted as a shooting guard in Europe. So, you know, from that perspective, hypothetically, you could do that because he is still a good enough dribbler and passer, as I understand. Again, I don't watch any Euro Ball. That maybe he could be at least a decent enough backcourt mate with Booker and just let either of them what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to shoot? Are we going to pass? And yeah, that might keep defenses on their heels a lot. But at the same time, if Doncic is the true point guard, then at least you have an offense. And again, I say true from the perspective of we're pretty high tops. Yeah, really high tops. I am just, if I were Ryan McDonough or Earl Watson or had any voice in the offense, I would predicate around the Golden State Warrior system. And I've been saying it for months. I would do that 100%. I would rather fail at trying to duplicate the Golden State Warrior system with Devin Booker than fail with a traditional, true point, true shooter, shooting guard, true small forward. Just because, the league is just not like that anymore. And obviously the league, you are not winning championships like that. Kyrie Irving did not win that championship for Cleveland. That was LeBron James, who is a 0.4. So right there, you've already got a non-traditional offense. And it's the same with Golden State. Say what again? What did I say? Did I say it wrong? What did I say? Tell me. But so that would be my point. I would rather lose going non-traditional and try to emulate Golden State than go traditional and try to emulate really Boston. Boston is trying now to be a traditional offense, and it might work in the slow prodding Eastern Conference. I just don't like it. It is not going to win a title, and it's certainly not going to beat Golden State. Boston hypothetically could, in my opinion, get past Cleveland. I do think they are talented enough. If they gel, they could be really good. So many people say carry on Cleveland. Yeah, BS. He made one shot. He made one of the greatest shots in NBA Finals history. BS. I would put John Stockton's... not John Stockton. Excuse me. 93 Bulls. I can picture his face. Burgle Flickle. Oh, what is his name? I blocked him out of my memory. I'm so glad. No, not Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is the second 3. Oh, shoot. John Paxson. I would put Paxson's 3, make that shot bigger than the Kyrie Irving shot, in my opinion. Fastball is exciting. Well, okay, and that's something else why I'll agree. I do think that this Suns team now with Devin Booker and Josh Jackson, the goal needs to be championship. Funny Cleveland fans would have even thought of Mr. Treasure Blood didn't block Iggy. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. There are just too many individual moments in a series to really say it was down to 1. No, he took a shot he needed to take. He hit the shot he needed to hit, and it won him a title. But B, Golden State choked. I don't know what that was. It's hard. I'm trying to look at the screen. I don't even know how to do that. Golden State freaking choked. And I will go to my grave believing that they threw that series. I'm not going to lie. I know that makes me sound like a crazy, no moon landing kind of guy, but I really believe that. I've legit seen someone say Kyrie is a great fit for the Suns because yeah, that's why. He hit one clutch three as a great fit for the Suns. No. I would have taken him, but only had the Suns stolen him. That's it. I would not have traded him. Oh, that's totally annoying. You're right. I would have not have traded, obviously, Josh Jackson. I would not have wanted to trade either Chris or Bender, although I would have traded one so long as only Miami's pick was gone, and then you're throwing in like Jared Dudley and or Tyson Chandler. That's it. I would steal him. I would not make that Boston trade. I mean, like, oh my gosh. I've seen plenty of people defend it and say it's really not that bad. And I've tweeted this guy's posts before. Oh, I follow this guy on YouTube. Oh, shoot. What's his name? What are we going to do with Tyson? Well, we're going to keep him around until he has to be traded. Or for some reason they can get a first-round pick for him, but they won't. Want him, we wouldn't be any better, and he doesn't make anyone any better. Yeah. No, he's a glorified Eric Bledsoe. And I mean no disrespect to Eric Bledsoe, because they're both good. But he's just a glorified Bledsoe. Their stats are so insanely similar. All it says to me is that Eric Bledsoe is being underappreciated in the league. The guy's a daggone good point guard. So just because Kyrie Irving averaged 4 more points, but every other stat across the board, almost, but most stats across the board were equal, then Eric Bledsoe should be equally as loved and beloved around the league as Kyrie Irving. I would venture to guess that Cleveland could have won that title with Eric Bledsoe and not just Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving hit one shot. Are you telling me Eric Bledsoe could not have hit that shot? That only Kyrie Irving was so skilled and clutch and cold-blooded? No, Bledsoe would have done that. Not only that, the Suns lose, so they're not getting national games. We're not making the playoffs. So, I mean, Bledsoe, his career is being hurt because of the team he's on. I wouldn't say that. I don't believe that. First off, he could just as easily demand a trade as Kyrie Irving did. He really could, but he's not. And actually, in my opinion, he deserves to be able to make a trade demand because of the situation that he's on. He is wasting the prime of his career with the Suns. In my opinion, there's no arguing that. And if anybody argues with me, I'm just going to tell you you're wrong. He is wasting the prime of his career. So, to me, right there, the fact that he is staying silent and is still a part of the Suns, and as for all intents and purposes, will be in training camp, he's a less selfish player than Kyrie Irving. A. B. His assist averages, and I can pull them up here in a moment, his assist averages have been going up. So, for my money, that to me just means that he is still a team player in the course of the offense. Remember, okay, so I should have known this off the top of my head. He averaged a career high in assists last year at 6.3 a game. So, and that's after he averaged a career high in back-to-back years with the Suns at 6.1. In fact, he's had 4 career highs with the Suns in assists in 4 years. So, to me, I just can't call him selfish. I really can't. Plus, he's such a great defensive player. His Suns averaging 1.6, 1.6, 2.0, 1.4 steals per game. Let me just check out Kyrie, because actually, off the top of my head, I don't know. So 1.6, 1.6, 2.0. Kyrie, last 4 years as an all-star, 1.5, 1.5, 1.1, 1.2. And his career high in assists is less than Eric Bledsoe's. So while he averaged more points last year by 3 to 4, he averaged 0.5 fewer assists, 0.2 fewer steals, but I just cannot believe that Eric Bledsoe is a selfish player. I think Eric Bledsoe is a damn good point guard who gets no love in the NBA because he's a Phoenix Sun. And it's not because he's a Phoenix Sun, it's because the Phoenix Suns are losing. He is Kevin Johnson-esque. And, I mean, in all reality, if you want to compare to current players, you're comparing Bledsoe to Kyrie Irving. If you want to compare him to past Suns, then you're comparing him to KJ. Sure. Shots per game. Just look at last year, because Kyrie only played 6 more games. So we'll just say for that. So shot 47.3 from the field. He shot 40% from three, so much better than Bledsoe. But 47.3 from the field, 52%, and then 90% from free throws. So he's a better shooter. There's no doubt about that. 47, yeah. Bledsoe, 43% from field, 33, so 7% at, 7% worse three-point shooter than Kyrie. His two-point field goal percentage, 47 compared to Kyrie's 50. And then effective field goal, Bledsoe is 48. And what did I say? He's not. Oh, oops. And what did I say? So he was 48, and Kyrie effective is 53. So I mean, there's definitely a shooting issue there, but it's also not necessarily quantity either. Kyrie averaged 19.7 shots per game last year and averaged 25.8 points. Bledsoe averaged 15.7, so 4 shots less, and only averaged 4 points, so 2 shots fewer. And so many of, I'm sure, of Kyrie's shots were threes. Let's see. Bledsoe averaged 4.7 threes last year to Kyrie's 6.1. So Kyrie averaged 1.4 more threes per game. So, I mean, again, would I have taken Kyrie Irving over Eric Bledsoe? Sure, he's younger by a few years, and their stats are that similar. But do I believe that Eric Bledsoe is kind of having his career wasted here in Phoenix? Then I do believe so. That's a little stat people don't look at. Which one? Shooting? The shooting stats people don't look at? Or number of shots per game, number of field goal attempts. And that's, I'm not going to lie. I mean, that is the big difference is that, excuse me, Kyrie Irving's a better, okay, but here's the other thing. Kyrie Irving's a better shooter, but I'd be curious, and now I'm really nitpicking, but I do think you guys will agree with me. How many, I can't wait, man. How many better shots does Kyrie Irving get because he plays with LeBron James and Kevin Love than Eric Bledsoe, who plays only with Devin Booker? So whereas defenses have to account for 3 stars on Cleveland, they only have to account for 2 on the Suns. So I mean, I don't know, that must make it a little bit easier at least. So maybe, and I could really break down stats, but I'm not going to do that live. And it's really not even worth making well, I could make a post about this and just really rave about Bledsoe, because I can always rave about Bledsoe. He's my favorite player, and I've said it 1,000 times. But I do wonder, not with Jackson playing, except something I said. What did I say? I do wonder, though, how many additional good, clean shots did Kyrie Irving get last year? Well, maybe I'll write it. I need a post idea. Maybe I can do that next day or two. But I do wonder how many additional clean shots Kyrie got versus Bledsoe, just because, well, there's actually 2 reasons. That was a very dramatic. First off, he's playing with K-Love and LeBron. Secondly, though, is their offense, just their system, is light years better than the Suns'. I hate the Suns' offensive system. Precisely, Bucks. I mean, the Suns are just so convoluted, so cluttered, so slogging. How many times in my life have I railed about the fact that they just place Dragon Bender in a corner and say, stay right there? No, I want him freaking running around. The Suns have way too much isolation play. Now, okay, some of this could be on Bled because the isolation stats dropped significantly when they benched him. It could be. But, the Suns were top 7 it's midway through the year. I don't know the day. I really have to do some research there. I don't know the day Bledsoe was benched, what their isolation percentage was in the league, but it was 7th for the longest time. And if I recall, it dropped below mid-league by the end of the year. I think they might even be in the high 20s. So, as in 21, 22, 23, somewhere there by the end of the year. So it dropped considerably. But Suns were... They were for the longest time. You know what? I will write a post about Bled. I don't know how quickly I can get that up in the next couple days for sure, and I will use that stat as well because I'll do some pros and cons about Bledsoe for sure. But last year sure can count for anything. Well, but the thing though is that again their isolation numbers sunk after Tyler Eulis took over offense. At the same time though, that's not entirely fair on Bledsoe because Tyler is a different point guard. He was never counted on to score. So from that perspective, Eric Bledsoe is counted on to score because he's the second star, whereas they absolutely did. Whereas Bledsoe is expected to score because he's a star, and now he's also the point guard. So now your backcourt is expected to score 60% of your points. That's a little high, but 45 to 50% of your points per game if you're averaging 110 and or above 100. Excuse me, I shouldn't have said 110. So I mean at that point, it's just a different game. Again, though, I just feel like if Earl Watson wanted to, he could force that offense to move more, and Bledsoe wouldn't necessarily be a true point, and he could still get his shots. They would just be a lot more open. Really tough. Well, that I can look up real quick. And we'll just make this the last thing because we're pushing a little bit over an hour. And I'm sure my son is going, where is my daddy? Okay, so teams. You said 7th in scoring. I believe we were. But remember, we're also... Okay, points per game. We also had the worst... Oh, you know what? I should have gone a basketball reference, but this will work. We had the worst scoring per game allowed average in 30 years. Suns were 9th. They averaged 107.7 points per game, which was 9th in the league. And that's only 0.2 below Portland, that was 8th, 0.3 below Boston, that was 7th. So if they had averaged 0.3 or 0.4 more points, they would have been 7th in the league. So they were that close. And then let's see. I don't want opponent shooting. I'm going to do this real quick. So then in terms of their defense, check something over here. Okay, so franchise index. Oh, here are your stats. That's what I want. Oops. Clicked it too quick. Then opponents per game. And they gave up. So they averaged 107.7 scoring, but they allowed... oh, no wonder it's not coming up. I'm hitting the wrong... okay, I have it this time, I swear. I'm not wasting your time. They allowed 113.3. So they scored 107.7. They allowed 113.3. And truthfully, I knew that. I knew that number. But that 113.3 was the 4th most points the franchise had ever allowed. The 4th most points the franchise had ever allowed per game. The most since 86-87. So I was right, 30 years. So it's just like, for the love of all that's good and mighty. So then their stats, though, so, okay, 107.7 they averaged. That's not even top 10, I don't think, in franchise history. So, oh, no, it's nowhere near 10. Wow, that's, gosh, I'd have to actually count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29. So they allowed the 4th most points they've ever allowed in franchise history, but they scored the 29th most points they've ever allowed in franchise history. So, I mean, that's just a big, huge, gaping problem there. Golly. So, yeah, that's just insane. So, I just can't blame it all on Eric Bledsoe. I can't blame anything on Eric Bledsoe. Definitely the isolation rate. I just blame the offense. I mean, it's just... I don't believe they've got a sound offensive defense strategy. I don't think that if Phil Jackson were the head coach, they're a playoff team. So I'm not saying it like that. I just think that the team would be a lot more fun to watch, A. And B, I'd feel a lot more comfortable in the long-term strategy and the long-term outlook because I would see a team that is developing around a solid offensive and defensive system. When you're allowing 113.3, I don't care if you're tanking. Nobody was playing defense. And, or the defensive strategy is just poor. Because those guys, they might not have all, Bledsoe, Tyson Chandler should have been out there the whole time. I've said that from the beginning. Yeah, they tanked, and sure, maybe got them Josh Jackson, but they might have got Josh Jackson anyway. So, I mean, seriously, how many extra games would Bledsoe and Tyson Chandler have won them? Probably not enough. They probably would have stopped at 4th anyway. That being said, it was just so awful, and it just, that being said, those guys that were out there are still NBA players. They were still working. You could see them. It's not like they were lazy. They were trying. They were doing what the defense told them to do, which just was not enough. And it's certainly the offense in particular. I mean, I will never, ever stop complaining about that until they have a new system, whether that's a new coach or a new offensive coordinator or a new system. I don't know. But it just needs to be improved. There's just too little movement. Those guys need to just be running the entire time they're on the court. Well, I agree. I agree with you, Dub. So, anyway, we've been over an hour. My boy, I'm sure, is like, what is going on? And to be honest, I need a dessert. So, thank you for joining us here this week. I do this for you. I love you guys. I'm going to make sure that, thank you so much, Bucks. Please tell your friends. I will definitely, because it's on YouTube, I will be able to still make a post about this, and I will, oh boy, I wrote about that last week, man. I want Marley back in the worst way. I would love him to be head coach next year. But again, I will get Twitter streaming back up next week. Please tell your friends, tell everybody to join. It's facebook.com/Phoenix Suns blog. Of course, have them follow us on Twitter, @Valley of the Suns, YouTube, Valley of the Suns, and just let them know. Lamar Odom for new Christmas. Lamar Odom for new Christmas. I'll post this position. Nice, thank you. Oh, Lamar Odom for head coach? Why do you want Lamar Odom? But yeah. Oh, wow. I'm like really close for the YouTube. I'm like, hey, do you see me? So yeah. So tell your friends, tell everybody, get everybody to join. I do this for you. Next week we will see you guys, barring some unforeseen event this week that gives us a special. We have not had a special edition in a while, since the jersey release. So yes, much love. Please, hearts. I just saw myself in the replay on the delay on YouTube. I should have never put my face that close. I can give the players some energy. Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was. All right. And on that note, I will see. Oh, hold on. On that note, let's go Suns.